Some first-person shooters are fun, non-stop action, and others are slow and tactical. Some are easy, and some have pretty steep learning curves. Welcome to the uphill battle. As always, I'm your host, the Gen X Gamer. Today we're going to cover those difficult first-person shooters. You know, the ones that just make you want to throw your controller into the trash. To make it on this list, they have to primarily have a first-person element, and they have to have some type of armed combat in them. So without further ado, let's get started. Far Cry 2's gameplay didn't quite live up to its overly ambitious marketing. However, it still gave us some amazing gameplay. While much of it is repetitive and grinding, it never failed to provide amazing firefights and over-the-top physics-based altercations. From the chaos of an ignited ammo cache to the satisfaction of blowing up enemy jeeps with your grenade launcher, it provided some truly spectacular gameplay. The reason it made this list was because of the difficulty until unlocking some of the better weapons and features you'll find. Everyone, and I mean everyone that's not in a ceasefire zone, wants to kill you. And the sad weapon that you start with doesn't help out a whole lot. And even if you do find a weapon you didn't buy, it'll just jam on you constantly. And when someone isn't trying to put you in the ground, you'll be fighting off a vicious bout of malaria. I mean, it's just a game that wants you to die everywhere you go, but to have a lot of fun doing it. First released in 2005, SWAT 4 provided gamers with a truly unique experience. Its focus is actually more on apprehending instead of killing, minimizing casualties. You'll have beanbag rounds, tasers, and even batons at your disposal. Of course, you'll also have a variety of assault weapons, but these aren't the go-to for most missions. While it's not the most difficult game on this list, the player's necessity for tactical precision and the punishment for poor planning landed it here in the top 10.
Red team, let's play it safe. Use the wand.
Check. On it.
And number 8, the sequel to the original, Operation Flashpoint, Red River was an improvement in nearly every way. With more intuitive controls, better graphics, great commentary from your commanding officer, and really interesting mechanics, like weapon jams, it provided some truly excellent gunfights. Being really more of a combat simulator than an action game itself, it tests your tactical planning abilities. You'll find yourself crawling, running, aiming, and dying, all in just an effort to progress mere meters to another checkpoint. It really is a truly fun experience. That is, if you don't mind reloading your recent saves quite often.
I'm taking fire over here! Rifleman, 150 meters, north.
Rifle! Enemies have gotten inside my fire zone. Push them back!
Threat down!
At number 7, one of my personal favorites, Rainbow Six Vegas. This was a really interesting game from 2006 that combined a mainly first-person perspective with some third-person mechanics, which really provided an extremely fluid and natural experience. Unlike later versions of GTA 5, which often had me switching back and forth when I was in cover from first-person to third-person just so I didn't get mixed up, this game just does it for you, and it does it well. Whether you're in cover or rappelling down a building, it graciously switches over automatically and really never feels forced. What earns this a spot on this list is its ruthless exploitation of any fracture in the player's strategy. You can move both your AI controllable characters, well, not independently of each other, unfortunately, but they're actually both very intelligent. I mean, they usually don't just step out in the middle of a firefight to become a bullet sponge. But your enemy's AI are almost nearly as clever and will bring even the most dedicated player to the brinks of rage quitting. While this is more of a horror survival game, it still qualifies as a first-person shooter. In fact, to call Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth any type of game would be a mistake. It has so many unique ideas and concepts that I just haven't seen in many other games. This game started development way back in 1999 and was planned to release on the PlayStation 2, but multiple delays resulted in an ultimate release date of 2005. By that time, the outdated graphics and lack of interest resulted in a very poor reception. Sadly, Headfirst Studios went bankrupt shortly after, and we never received a sequel to this masterpiece. To say this game was difficult would be a severe understatement. When you weren't rationing your ammo or looking for material to heal yourself, you were battling a complete mental breakdown. Seriously, your character Jack Walters was always just one stare away from losing it and basically offing himself. It's just a really unique and interesting game, and honestly a real trip. If you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft and you don't mind the extremely outdated graphics or a very difficult game, you've got to try this one out. At number 5 is Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, which had a bit of an identity crisis. It came out in 2006 for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, the Xbox 360, and Windows, releasing as a bit of a different version for each platform. For the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, it's a first-person shooter. For the Xbox 360, pretty much designed to be played in third person. And for Windows, well, Windows is the most authenticated experience, which is a version actually making it to this list. Much like the PlayStation 2 and Xbox versions, it's a first-person shooter. The ability to view your map in an aerial perspective and control each of your 3 additional AI characters independently, whether just pointing at a location or setting up multiple waypoints, provided you freedom to tackle any given mission with ultimate precision. But this freedom also provided the player to make plenty of mistakes. The enemy AI in this game was just ruthless, taking advantage of any vulnerability in your strategy. And just when you think you've cleared an area, there's always that one sniper tucked away in the corner to punish you for your carelessness. I know I make this game sound more difficult than what it's worth, but believe me, it is a blast. Just be prepared to die a lot.
Forming on you.
Contact! We have a visual on Ramirez! A roof just west of your position, Captain. He has buku hostiles!
On my way.
At number 4, we have Operation Flashpoint Dragon Rising, which released in 2009. Much like Red River, which we discussed earlier, it has a slew of in-game options that make this more of a simulation combat game instead of an action game. With 3 squad members you can order independently, this game provides some pretty impressive tactical choices. However, it also requires strict precision and planning. Considering it's a simulation fighter, you'll also experience bullet drop, non-regenerating health, and real effects from being wounded. This game isn't the most polished shooter, but it's really an authentic experience, to say the least. And much like Advanced Warfighter, you'll be restarting from your checkpoint quite a bit.
Support gunner, 200 meters, north. Target, support gunner, is eliminated.
Doom 2016 was a crowning achievement within its own right. Originally announced in 2008, it seemed it would never see its post-release. When it did, it revived the franchise in a way never thought possible. While this game was difficult, most of its intense moments were in its side missions, such as the rune trials. Since these are optional, Doom did not make this list. Doom Eternal, however, did. The main campaign is just brutal. Not so much earlier on, but as you progress towards the end of the game, it's nearly impossible for the average gamer. Granted, there are many weapons and strategies available to easily give you the upper hand, but mastering these can be a huge learning curve. And then you have the Marauders. Apparently, these were your direct descendants. They were also slayers, but now they're corrupted. And honestly, they're the biggest trolls of this game. When they're not throwing projectiles at you, they're using their own double-barrel shotgun, or get this, sending ghost wolves to hunt you down. And what's worse is their shield that blocks nearly any attack you throw at them. Many people found interesting ways to take down these juggernauts quickly and efficiently. But for the normal gamer, it's easily one of the most difficult first-person shooters, earning a spot on this list. At number 2, we have Rainbow Six Vegas 2. You would think with the addition of a sprint mechanic, this game would be a bit more fluid than the first. And you'd be wrong. To be fair, this game did do a lot of things right. It had an innovative upgrade and reward system, excellent multiplayer, and really just a co-op experience that can't be matched. It also had a storyline that coincided with the first game. Unfortunately, the bugs and impressively poor AI of the same controllable characters from the first added to an already very difficult game, often making this more frustrating than fun. Maybe console users had better luck, but the Windows version was just brutal. Here's a small clip of one of my previous streams, just for context.
Bad risk, bad risk, bad risk, abort! Abort! Oh man, oh, son of a... I killed 4 people. 4 people in a row. Oh, nice. Did you? I didn't do that. What happened?
Before I get to the most difficult first-person shooter ever, if you like my content, please like and subscribe. It helps me to continue to make good content for you. Also, feel free to comment. Tell me if you agree with my choices, or if you think other games are even more difficult. And the #1 most difficult first-person shooter on this list is Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2. This game came out in 2007 and was a sequel to the first Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. Much like its predecessor, it has different versions for both console and PC. And much like the first, we'll be talking about the PC version only. This game had a few more bugs than its predecessor, which added to the difficulty level. It also had multiplayer too, which was actually pretty good for its time. You play as the same protagonist as the first, Captain Scott Mitchell, and while you're technically playing in a separate location, it's essentially the same game. But with some bugs that never got worked out, along with better enemy AI, it is easily one of the most difficult first-person shooters ever. Have fun with this one.
Spotted. We're with you, Captain. We're with you, boss. Target spotted. Target down.
So there you have it, and thanks for watching.